We're doing it live. Live best ball drafts. Only Josh Allen talk for the next 20 minutes here on the Fantasy Football Show. Ready to rumble. Let's go. The Fantasy Football Show late night best ball. Josh Allen 20-minute show starts right now.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios. It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern.
What is going on, good people? You're watching the Fantasy Football Show, and we're doing a live late night graveyard shift best ball superflex draft on top of talking about Josh Allen for 20 straight minutes. Nothing else. Phone lines will be open, but only to Josh Allen talk. And that's it. Bottom line, we're going to focus on one player at a time to really hammer home any questions or scenarios or situations going on surrounding that player. Josh Allen has the potential to get a Derrick Henry despite the Philadelphia Eagle rumor that has Derrick Henry heading to the Eagles. He still has the potential to get an Austin Eckler, a Bijan Robinson, who knows what. Jahmyr Gibbs, Zach Charbonnet in that late first round draft selection by the Buffalo Bills. So we have a whole lot to talk about in regards to all that. We have the live draft we're going to do right this very second. Let me go ahead and click this right here, do some housekeeping here. Let me drop that link in the live chat right now. This is the link to the private Superflex best ball draft that will be for the autographed quarterback jersey. Probably going to be a Fields or a Trevor Lawrence if I had to guess. And these are not the big prize underdog fantasy Superflex drafts. These are the private $3. We're going to probably do $3 drafts. $3 drafts, the prize money is really low, but we're all fighting for the Garrett Wilson jersey in the 1 QB private draft settings. And then when we go into the Superflex settings, which we're doing right now, you're going to be playing for that autographed quarterback jersey, which I still have is TBA on which one it's going to be. 8 spots left. I dropped the link already in the live chat. Let's go. No, do what got you there, says Walker. I don't know what that means. Josh said he is altering his game and being less mobile. We'll be talking about Josh Allen. He's not going to alter much at all, bro. This is just him trying to... this is Josh Allen just trying to run a little less. Like, trying to. You want that out of Josh Allen. He's not altering much at all. Matt O says we're slinging it here. Mr. Miyagi says hit that like button, right? Hit that like button. The Ryan in the building. Jake the Snake wants the link. The link is pinned. Jake the Snake dropped a five exclusive memberships.
To the moon.
Attaboy, Jakey. Appreciate you doing that. 2 more to start. Link is pinned in the live chat. 2 more to start in this private draft. And I'm going to start the timer right now on the only not St. Brown talk, only Josh Allen talk. Let me fix this. Only Josh Allen talk for the next 20 minutes begins right now. So boom. Boom. Let me change this real quick. There we go. Only Josh Allen talk for 19 minutes and 32 seconds. Phone lines will be open again for Josh Allen only talk, and then we'll move on from there. Obviously, you guys in the chat, you're going to have different discussions going on, but we are strictly on the phone line, or the words coming out of my mouth pretty much are going to be only Josh Allen talk. All right, let me move this over here and get this phone number in view. There we go. All right, we're all set up. 19 minutes and 5 seconds left of Josh Allen talk. Matt O says Josh Allen will be Josh Allen. He wants to win. Yeah, he's only going to hold back so much. Let me paint this picture for you. Josh Allen, blue 32. Where's my football? Blue 32. Okay. Josh Allen steps back to pass. Nothing's there. He's getting pressured from the left. You can feel it right here. You can feel it on the left side of his earlobe. And he starts to navigate this way to get out of the pocket. What's he going to do? Throw the ball away when he has a wide open rushing lane? Josh Allen's only going to run a little bit less. And when I say a little bit less, I mean like instead of running for, let's say, 800 yards, he'll run for 680. Instead of running for a 650-yard season, he'll run for 555. Doesn't mean his touchdown production will be lesser. He could have more touchdowns. He could run for 9 touchdowns and run for 100 less yards and just have another touchdown or two. First pick overall in this draft here, let me get over here, was Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, followed by Joseph Cigar Smoking Burrow. Nick is on the clock here. This is a private draft for the autographed jersey. There will be all kinds of, entries into this because we're taking this thing, the entire Fields fell to me. I mean, not that I can win my own jersey, but I do want to show out in these drafts. So taking Fields was a phenomenal fall right there to number 6 overall. I'd love to know, Nick, if you wanted to call in and after the Josh Allen timer expires, 17 minutes left, I would love for you to call in and argue Justin Herbert and why you took Herbert over Fields. And not that you're wrong or that you should be lambasted for it. I'm just curious to know the logic. Are you just a huge Herbert bounce back fan? And look, we loved Herbert as a 1, 2, or 3 overall quarterback last year, so you're not wrong to still believe in him. I am just curious if you think they're going to bring in a JSN as a Flowers, or they're going to draft Bijan at 21 overall. Would love to know what your thoughts are there after this timer expires. 16 minutes and 52 seconds left. Anybody wants to call in and talk Josh Allen, dial in.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
So far in this draft, it went Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, Justin Fields to me, Justin Jefferson, Trevor Lawrence, Lamar Jackson, Bijan Robinson. Number 11 is on the clock. That's Rock Out. Rock Out's there. That's Fire, a.k.a. That's Fire. He's now Jake the Snake. Jake the Snake taking Deshaun Watson. Surprise, surprise. This man loves Deshaun. He's taking Deshaun at 12. He's not blinking, batting an eye, nothing. Christian McCaffrey, Deshaun. Pretty interesting combo there. Adam, you're live on the Fantasy Football Show.
Hey, what's going on? As far as Josh Allen's always going to be Josh Allen. He might tell everybody he's going to stop running, but when it comes down to it, if he needs to rush for 30 yards for a touchdown to win the game, he's not going to be like, oh, I'm just going to stay behind the line of scrimmage here. Hopefully someone gets open.
I'm going to toss this out of bounds. I'm going to toss this one out of bounds. I'm not supposed to be running. Like, he's not doing that. Anybody that thinks anybody thinks he's doing that's crazy.
You don't. Anytime I hear people say, "Oh, I'm going to stop doing this," and it's something they've done their whole life as a career in a sport, you just don't stop. It's not something you just feel like, I think I'm just not going to do this anymore.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
I'm trying to think. A while back, I heard there was another quarterback who said this as well. Didn't Lamar say it a couple years ago or something? Like
they all say it, bro. I mean, it's commonplace, to be like, oh, I'm going to dial it back, and they should. And Josh Allen should dial it back, and he might dial it back. He didn't define it. Like, who's to say he won't actually run a little less? He might, but it doesn't mean. Just means he's going to be smarter. That's all. That's all anybody should take away from it. It doesn't mean anything other than that. He's just going to be smarter, and that's that. It doesn't mean anything. I think for anybody to downgrade him because he says he's going to try and run less, you should be excited. If you're a Josh Allen supporter, you should be like, okay, it's got to mean run less in very bad spots, like bad situations, sure. But I think most smart people know that, bro.
I also think that the new offensive coordinator that they still got the same one from last year, right? The one that just came in. I think they want to run the ball more. And I think if they get a good running back, I think they will. I think they might run the ball more than people think. That's
the hope, bro. I always say, the scariest Buffalo Bill team was the one that was in a shootout with the Mahomes, Allen shootout, where that season, maybe in that game they were throwing, but in that season leading up to that game, they were running heavy and they were looking good. And Singletary's no amazing running back, but he was like one of the top 7 or 8 running backs in terms of touchdowns and rushing yards. That final 6 or 7 games into that playoff loss, he's fine. Josh Allen's fine. They do need to run the ball more. That'll create some balance. And they need to run Josh Allen a little less, but just be smart with him. That's it. Everyone pretty much knows that. But Josh Allen, to me, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can't argue with someone putting him number 5 behind Fields. I can't argue someone putting him number 1 ahead of all the other 4 quarterbacks. It's just, this is the one year where usually I say to people, like, I want destiny in my hands, and I do ultimately. Like, I don't want I don't want to take the scraps. I don't want to take the leftover quarterback. I want to have full control, take the guy I want. I still feel that way about it 100% of the time whenever I'm drafting. I want the 1 pick. I don't want the 4 pick. But in this case, like, I literally feel like Mahomes, Allen, Hurts, Burrow, Fields are all so close that I want all 5 of them in 5 drafts side by side by side by side by side. I really, really do. I don't think I would stockpile one of those guys and say, it's going to be Allen for sure, so I want Allen at all of them, and I'm going to let it ride on Allen. I truly want to mix it up because I think they're all capable of being the number 1 quarterback. It's just a weird year. Changing of the guard, every single one of them is youthful. Every single one of them is going to be here for a decade plus. It's the changing of the guard already happened at quarterback. Next up is the RBs. You know, the Henrys are falling out. The Cooks are falling out. The Mixons are falling out. It's all swapping out. It's a changing of the guard. It's happening right away. I'm excited for it. I'm here for it. And it's happening at running back and wide receiver.
Being ahead of the curve, that's the key. Like, people hang on to certain players too long.
Yeah.
And then they're scared to take on the new rookies that come in, and sometimes, you know, they just get scared. Because I'm big on consistency, so I will stick to having, because I know Josh Allen is going to be a top. You know, I mean, he was what, fourth this year, 3rd this year.
Depends on scoring, but yeah, I mean,
yeah,
I think it's all.
And he'd even get him and Burrow to even get their game together. So
look, their
points could be higher.
To the point of running less, Josh Allen, Fields, Jalen Hurts, Mahomes too, but all running quarterbacks, all of them were hurt. All the big dog running quarterbacks were banged up. So running less sounds good to me. Just in the right way, running less. So Josh Allen needs to dial it back. He's also very, very aggressive the way he treats his body. He will sacrifice himself because he thinks he's invincible right now. It's going to take him, unfortunately, some large amount of games missed. Hopefully it's not season ending, but it might take something like that to really rattle him and say, you're not invincible. Right now he feels invincible. He does. Even though he's been banged up, he's saying he wants to run less. Josh Allen feels invincible, and for good reason, because he's a massive human being out there dominating when he's running the football. Like, he's a hard player to tackle. But unfortunately, if I'm drafting in Dynasty, he's not my number 1. He's not my number 2. I'd much rather, even though Mahomes was banged up last year, I get it. I'd much rather have Mahomes or Burrow over Hurts or Allen in Dynasty startup, mindset, because of the likelihood of the running quarterback suffering more injury. Like, Fields is a bigger injury risk over the next 10 years than Joe Burrow is. And Joe Burrow finally got protection. Oh, he's walking into 2023 with massive upgrades in the protection department. So Joe Burrow, Joe Burrow's going to get hit, Joe Burrow's going to get hurt, all was true, leading through to this point. But now Joe Burrow gets a whole upgrade, bigger, better situation in terms of blocking and staying upright. So I'm excited about Joe Burrow taking that next step. Let's see.
Yeah.
Hold on, I'm on the clock. Let me just make this pick real quick. I've got Fields, Kenneth Walker, Olave. Hawkinson. I haven't gone Hawkinson. That's a pretty nice, well-rounded out group, but I haven't gone Hawkinson early. Shoot, man.
Yeah, I think Hawkinson would be a good play. That'll give you a quarterback, running back, and wide receiver, and with a nice elite tight end to go with it.
I think I'm gonna go. Boy, this is early, but it's early. But I'm gonna go Watson. I love Watson. He's my fourth. It's a fourth rounder. I think at this point, even though it's super flex and it kind of bumps everyone down around, you get right around the 4 or 5 turn, it starts to level back into the normal ADP a little bit more. Like he's about 5-6 picks too early, but I love Christian Watson here. Watson, Olave, Walker, Jalen Hurts. I don't think anybody can complain about that 4. I mean, they're all moon men.
Solid.
Look at this.
Without a doubt.
The moon men.
I got
dropping loads in outer space.
We got Fieldsy. We got Walker. Fields, Walker.
Space Monsters.
Chris Olave and Christian Watson. We got the entire. Where's Watson? Oh, over here. Got the entire list of moon men so far going on here. Kyler Murray, I don't know about that pick. That pick's so early, 4th round, with him being out maybe half a season or more. Phone lines are open if anybody wants to dial in and talk Josh Allen for the next 7 minutes. Najee Harris just went. Josh Allen team got him. Josh Allen, Breece Hall, A.J. Brown, Najee Harris. Ada, I like that team from that 2 spot. That's really good, bro. Mahomes, Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, T. Higgins, DK. It's not bad. It's just we got to see what you do at the running back position. You know who's overtaking? I don't know if this is going to be in the 1 QB realm as well, but right now Drake London I think is overtaking Watson in ADP. And this is super flex though. We in 1 QB we didn't see this happening. I wonder why that's happening, because everyone already knew for weeks and weeks and weeks heading into when 1 QB drafts on Underdog went away. Everyone knew that Aaron Rodgers was going, leaving that situation. So I don't know why London is climbing up. Nothing's really changed in London's world. That's a really weird ADP movement there. Deshaun Watson revenge tour.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't think so. What?
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, because I know a lot of people are down on Ritter. So I figured people wouldn't be so high on London because of that.
Yeah, it's just weird. Hawkinson just went. Way to snipe me. Who sniped me? Nick. Take a lap, Nick. Debo. So I've got. I need an RB. Aaron Jones is available. He's not horrible here. Jahmyr Gibbs or Aaron Jones? You like Gibbs or Jones?
Gibbs.
Yeah, I like Aaron Jones, but I'm going to roll with the upside. I got all Moon Men so far. We're going to Moon Men. Moon Men 101. Fields, Walker, Olave. Let me just do it this way. Fields, Walker, Gibbs, Olave, Watson. I'm liking it. Let's go back to this team.
That's definitely solid.
Team 1, I don't know if I would have taken Dak there. That's just me.
I also think Allen could throw more touchdowns this year, especially if they end up getting Hopkins. And a lot of people do seem to think that he's going there.
He could.
You got Hopkins, Diggs, Davis, and I'm big on Shakir. I like Shakir coming into the league last year, but they didn't give him a lot of playing time. And I think he could do some things this year. And you get him real late rounds and stuff.
Yeah, I just can't explain why London overtook Watson. I'm not saying I disagree with it at all. I mean, you guys look at my Moon Man list.
The Moon Men.
I got
dropping loads in outer space.
You got Olave, London. They're on this list. So is Watson. So I love all. I'm not complaining. I'm just trying to figure out why nothing happened. Nothing happened that should make London climb ahead of Watson based on what was happening. So I wonder if it's just super flex. I wonder if it's just that in 1 QB, Jordan Love with Watson's more attractive stacking than, I don't know. Maybe people are trying to stack Ritter and London more, and it's made them closer together in ADP. Tough to know. But it's not that it shouldn't happen. I like London. London honestly, London and Watson should be neck and neck. You should not be able to get Watson in round 4 and London in round 5, or even Watson in late round 4 to 5 and London in late 5 to 6. Like, that's a cheat code for your wide receiver 1 and 2 if you want to go RB, or if you want to go Kelsey, quarterback, RB, or if you want to go Jamar Chase in round 1, Walker in round 2, Joe Burrow in round 3, and if you wanted to, or Breece Hall in round 3, and then go wide receiver with Watson and London. It's a cheat code that shouldn't have been existing and out there to be utilized, and yet it's been, you can do it all day long. I don't know that I would take this Superflex ADP change as a certainty that we're going to see that happen in a 1 QB once we get back to 1 QB. Real quickly, we've got George from the Bay. George, what's up?
Smitty, what up?
What's going on?
Yeah, I agree with your take. You were talking about the how you have like basically all 5 quarterbacks in like the same boat, and like I'd be happy with every single one of them. But I kind of feel like this Josh Allen take, I feel like he was just pressing a little bit too much last year. Like there's just too much pressure on him to perform, you know, and you know the whole season. I mean, look, 4,000 yards, 4,500 yards every year, 35 touchdowns, 700 rushing yards, 7 rushing touchdowns. Like he's top 2, top 3 every year, you know. I wouldn't mind taking Josh Allen, and I honestly think that this year is going to come down between the Bills and the Bengals in the AFC. And I think I'm high on Joe Burrow. I think he's going to throw over 5,000 yards. I'm hoping that they go to the Super Bowl and win it. But, I'm not counting Josh Allen out. I think he's still top 2, top 3 in my book.
Yeah. I think out of all those guys, the most likely to throw for 40 touchdowns, I don't even know if you can really even say, I mean, Mahomes so capable of 40 passing touchdowns. Josh Allen totally capable of it. Jalen Hurts, you know, it's more about the total yards and total touchdowns for him. So I'm not going to expect 40 passing scores out of him. But I mean, could he do it? I mean, he could. He really could if he stopped. You know, I don't know. I think Jalen Hurts is, the sky's the limit for him, and he's only going to improve. Joe Burrow, same thing. We have never seen Joe Burrow fully protected before, and I have a feeling that he's on the verge of at least a 40 to 43 total touchdown season. Maybe throws for 40 and still runs for 4 or 5. Like Burrow could have a 45 TD season. I really think it's not crazy at all, and he's easily capable of 5,000 yards. So I think, you know what I predict to happen, and the timer's running out, so after I say this, everybody can talk about whatever they want. We wanted to force Josh Allen for the first 20 minutes, but I'll say this. I believe that after this season, this will be the year of the quarterback. I know last year kind of was too, but this will be even more so the year of the quarterback. And I predict we have, not just by your grandma or in a grandma league that this happens, but I predict we have at least one quarterback that sneaks into the top 12 overall. Maybe it's 11 or 12 on the regular in 2024 mock drafts. Look, where right now we're seeing 1 or 2 in round 2. You would never have seen that. You would never have seen that the year prior in 2022 mock drafting. People would have made fun of you if you were taking a QB at 12, 13, or 14. I really believe that these 4 or 5 quarterbacks have such a big year that people are going to be racing to get him. Just racing to get him. I haven't got my second QB yet, but this team's pretty fire. I don't have a second QB yet, but I got Justin Fields, Kenneth Walker, Jahmyr Gibbs, Zach Charbonnet, Olave, Christian Watson, and DeAndre Hopkins. I definitely need to attack the quarterback position, but I really do believe that. I believe we're going to see somebody go at 12, 11, and we haven't had a ADP regular quarterback round 1 in what? How long? How long has it been? A decade? It's been a while. And you've been made fun of if you take a QB even in round 3 for a decade. You've been made fun of. But I've been sitting here saying, let him make fun of you. Let him make fun of you. There's 100 ways to win. My most favorite way to win last year was waiting on waiting on Joe Burrow and Jalen Hurts in round 6, 7, 5, 6, 7, just depending on when you drafted. That was my favorite strategy. Yet I'm out here every single night beating a dead horse on that early quarterback can still win you a championship. So no one can say, "Oh, Smitty, you're an early quarterback only guy." That's definitely not the case. You know, Josh Allen. I keep saying Josh Allen. Jalen Hurts and Joe Burrow were two of my favorite picks last year in round 6 and 7. But I do believe that one can argue that, you know, like you wait on, let's say you wait on Trevor Lawrence. Where's Trevor Lawrence going on a 1 QB draft now? We're doing so many best balls. It's hard to even grasp my head around it. But I would say like what, round 5?
Yeah, T-Law's like 6.
Yeah, 5, 6. So he is the closest thing to Joe Burrow, Jalen Hurts from last season. So can you draft T-Law in round 6 and draft, let's say you have to take Josh Allen in the second round. So a second round wide receiver is, let's call it, I don't know. Let's call it Amon-Ra, because Amon-Ra is a hot topic anyway right now. Amon-Ra and Trevor Lawrence, or Josh Allen, and what wide receiver are we talking about in that territory? Hopkins. I mean, Hopkins just went here. I mean, this is super flex though, but I mean, it's just apples to apples, man. It's crazy to me that people even have a problem with it.
Yeah, it's funny that you bring up the mock draft where a quarterback could go the top 12. I kind of agree with that, and you know, I would lean more towards, you know, Hurts if he follows up this year with another monster season. You know, it would be him. And when I talk to most people, they say that they would value Hurts over Allen because of the rushing upside. But then I remind everybody, it's like he had, you know, Josh Allen had the same amount of rushing yards. He just had a few less touchdowns, you know, in less attempts, you know, and you know, that's just how dynamic Josh Allen is. You know, it's like he's going to have one of these seasons, and it's probably going to be this year where it's a monster season, 40-plus touchdowns, 10 rushing touchdowns, 800 yards rushing on the ground. You know, and everyone's going to be like, "Oh, Josh Allen, I never doubted him." You know, but
so Allen here and T-Law here and London here and St. Brown here. It's I just get so tired of people saying like wait on a quarterback. It's apples to apples. It's London and Josh Allen versus St. Brown and T-Law. It's apples to apples. One can argue either one of those very, very effectively. There's no reason you can't go T-Law and St. Brown. If you think St. Brown's a top 4 wide receiver this year because of the whole Jameson Williams suspension, then that is the move to make. If you believe in T-Law and you believe in St. Brown to that degree, for you should be waiting on T-Law. If you believe that London is the next top 5 or 6 wide receiver, you should 100% be drafting Josh Allen in round 2 and T-Law in round 5.5 to 6. It's just the way it works. It doesn't. There's no wrong or right. It's just apples to apples have to be compared before you start throwing out things like you shouldn't draft a quarterback early. It's a mistake. Everybody knows it's a mistake, Smitty. Like I just think it's ridiculous. Go ahead. What?
Yeah. I was gonna say, I personally think that should be everyone's objective in every draft. Is you need to get one of those quarterbacks, and if you got to take them in the first round to get them in the 12th spot, 13, somewhere around there, you do it. You do what you got to do to give yourself the best chance. If I have Josh Allen or Hurts, Mahomes, Burrow, Fields, I know that I'm going to have a quarterback who has high upside.
Here's the only.
Me personally, I love Josh Allen because he's been consistent, and I look for consistency, high upside players.
But here's the only pushback I give on the first rounder right now, because you don't have to. Like, what I'm saying is next year, QB's values will climb to where one of them will be 12 or 13. And then in that context, we'd have to revisit it then. The problem is there are 5 quarterbacks that are absolute electric and fire. And one of them, named Joe Burrow, is falling into round 4. So you're probably never going to see me draft, unfortunately, Josh Allen or Mahomes in the second at this current moment in time, because Joe is falling in round 4 like clockwork. And so for me, it's not like I'm comparing T-Law and Josh Allen with the London and St. Brown comparison. Now I'm comparing, you could say, Josh Allen to Josh Allen, because Joe Burrow is Josh Allen. To me, Josh Allen is Joe Burrow. They're interchangeable. So it's like at this moment in time, the best move is Joe Burrow. And that's like across the board. So, and that's not me. Like, if you think Joe Burrow is going early, then again, I would take any one of those guys in the 3rd round, 2nd round. Honestly, I'd draft Joe Burrow in round 2. I would totally draft Joe Burrow in round 2 if I had to. But I've seen him fall to 5. I have a lot of people tell me he's fallen to 5. I just feel like Joe Burrow is a smash. Just absolute win your league, 4th round. What are people thinking? What are people even thinking? He's a home run there. But I still could win. I could still do the apples to apples comparison and figure out a way to dominate drafting Josh Allen in round 2. I just don't want to miss the Joe Burrow opportunity because it's such an edge. But Josh Allen in 2 versus Joe Burrow, we could argue the same thing. We could say Watson and Joe Burrow versus Josh Allen and St. Brown. Probably rather have Josh Allen and I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. Joe Burrow and St. Brown versus Josh Allen and Watson. I'd probably rather have St. Brown and Joe, but you could argue both of those.
Smitty, I was late to the stream. Did you guys draft a super flex tonight, or did you guys do a Garrett Wilson draft?
I'm going to take Jameson right here. We're doing super flex. Unfortunately, we're doing super flex. I shouldn't say it unfortunately, but we're getting a little super flexed out. I'd love to have the decision to do one or the other, but it only allows you to create private drafts under the umbrella of Superflex, which is the only big board that they've had up recently. And so it's making you copy those settings when you do a private draft. So as soon as the NFL draft's over.
Just curious. Based on the new news of Josh Allen saying he was going to run less, did his average draft position drop a little bit in this draft tonight?
No, that's as we talked about earlier. That's really nothing burger news. He went number 2 overall. I mean, it's a super flex. He's going to go in the top 5, but like he's running less to protect himself. But is he really going to? Is he really even going to pull it off? Probably not, bro. He's probably not running less.
Do you anticipate people taking that news and possibly dropping him down a little bit, because normally I've seen him go as the 1 quarterback, the 2 quarterback. So, I mean, just because the news, some people could freak out and be like, oh, well, maybe I'll skip out on him.
I don't think I think everyone's pretty smart, for the most part, to know that Josh Allen's value does not take a single small dip at all, like whatsoever. I think someone would have to be, maybe one person out of every 12 in a league might think that. But, I mean, he can't control when he's getting pressured and he's feeling that pressure to scramble. Like, he's not going to just throw the ball out of bounds. He's a competitor. He's basically saying, I'm trying to be smarter as I get older. And he runs so reckless. He runs with a reckless abandonment. Just completely sacrifices his body because he keeps getting away with it. That's the problem, right? You keep speeding until a police officer pulls you over and gives you a ticket, and then you start slowing down. So he's heading toward a eventual injury, but we don't know when that is. It could be 5 years from now, so I'm not going to avoid him. But he just needs to be smarter, and I think it's what he's saying he's going to do, and I believe he will try very, very hard. I think he'll be rather successful doing it. I don't think I'm not worried about him failing at what he's saying he'll do, but does it affect anything? Probably not. It's probably going to be more advantageous, and maybe he sits in the pocket longer, bro, and throws a touchdown strike. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't necessarily mean him running less is going to have the ball not in his hands. He might wait a couple seconds. He might figure out they might have less drawn up design runs for him, and he's just throwing touchdowns instead. You know what I mean? Like, less running does not just mean take points away from him. I think that's one takeaway people should have from that. It doesn't mean anything. No one knows what it means, and it could be 10 less runs where he's like designing. It's designed for him, you know. He doesn't need to run up the A gap, the B gap. He doesn't need to take contact when he can just step out of bounds. He should slide a little more. Like, those are some of the things that he's probably inferring. I don't think it necessarily means, oh, I'm going to run for 400 yards instead of 700. No one believes that. Not in a second. Let's go over to
Minnie, what do you...
Hold on one second. Let me get on over to Steven. Steven, what's up, man?
Hey, what's going on, man? I saw that you're doing a Josh Allen only talk, so I was just gonna say, I mean, yeah, we're already talking about him being like top 5 now. I'd love to see like if people would think that he'd be like just like the number 1 quarterback if they end up like addressing like some type of like help opposite of Diggs. Like if he can finally either get a connection with Gabe Davis, or if they bring in somebody, then maybe we're looking at him as he could finish as the number 1 fantasy quarterback.
Well, if let's say Hopkins is acquired, that was still the rumor that was going to happen, and then we haven't heard anything from it. Like, it still feels like the lead dog candidate, the Buffalo Bills. I think if Hopkins gets acquired, Josh Allen will become the consensus. Not that he's not close to it now, but he's not. I mean, it's so all over the map. He would be the consensus number 1. All this talk about him running less is just going to be like, what? Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Everyone's going to be putting Josh Allen number 1 overall. If he gets DeAndre Hopkins, lights out. And that might, honestly, I know a lot of people are going to say, Smitty, that don't put disrespect on your own bank, your boy Joe Burrow. But if the Buffalo Bills get Henry, or they get Hopkins, or they get Eckler, they make one of those bold moves, they are the favorite in the AFC for me. The favorite, just straight up. Bengals too. Bengals get Eckler, the favorite. Those two teams are just waiting for an opportunity to level up, one up the Kansas City Chiefs, and I'm just waiting for it to happen. I just don't know if these teams are smart enough to realize that a couple third rounders they should be given up for Derrick Henry. Like, it's just a no-brainer. It's stupid. It's stupid that we're still sitting here and Derrick Henry hasn't been traded yet. This is ridiculous. I agree with you. A team should have already acted. It's kind of insane.
And not only that, but like a team like Buffalo, I feel like they definitely should. Just because, like, I mean, you think about it, all these moves that they did, like, to load up with Josh Allen to really, like, to finally, like, because they're like a town that's been starving to get at least like a Super Bowl victory. So you would think, like what you're talking about, that they do bring in a guy like Derrick Henry, like DeAndre Hopkins and stuff like that. Because I'll be honest with you, man. I mean, I don't know how you feel about it. I mean, I like Sean McDermott and I like the program that he's doing. But I mean, I feel like after a certain amount of times where you keep losing in the playoffs, eventually, like, maybe they'll go in and, like, they want to move on from the guy and they want to bring somebody else in. Because, I mean, if I'm correct, too, that Leslie Frazier guy that's helped them out with, like, the top 10, like, defense, he's not even going to be back there next year. It's, like, a lot of there's definitely going to be, like, a lot of turnover. So I think that McDermott definitely has to, like, they definitely have to try to figure out a way to definitely go in and capitalize on this, like, momentum just in case for some reason for him. Like, he could be on, like, some type of, like, job security and stuff.
You never know, bro. Anybody's job is on the line if a certain amount of losing occurs in even rapid fashion. Like, look at Peterson in Philly and how quickly that unraveled when the Super Bowl, boom, gone. It just depends. I think, honestly, in my gut and in my bones, bro, I'm telling you right now, Josh Allen wins 2 Super Bowls in the next 10 years. I think he will. I think you will. He'll win 2 Super Bowls in the next 10 years. That might sound crazy to some people, might not sound enough to other people, might not sound bold at all, or might sound crazy bold. I mean, it just depends on the angle you're looking at. But I think Joe Burrow wins at least one, probably depends on whether they retain Higgins and how the team stays to form in the next 2 to 3 years. But, Joe Burrow, Mahomes, Josh Allen, and then I think, rotating in, obviously an NFC team here and there, Jalen Hurts. I think we're really looking at these guys winning Super Bowls. It's not like, oh, this team's winning because of it's Josh Allen. Oh, I'm going to time out. Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I timed out on KJ Osborne. Shoot. I think that these quarterbacks are winning Super Bowls. These are the quarterbacks that are winning Super Bowls. I think Fields could get in the mix. I think Fields wins the Super Bowl in the next 12 years. I think that's not that crazy to say one Super Bowl. I think he seriously can. I think I don't know if the Niners have a 1 to 3 year window. If they keep their quarterback situation the way it is, I don't know. I think maybe this is the best team we've ever seen that continues to not win Super Bowls, and in the recent time frame that they've been dominant. But this is going to be crazy if they don't capitalize on the 1 to 3 year window that the Niners have with Christian McCaffrey, with Kittle, with Debo. Debo's going to start breaking down in about 2 to 3 years. Kittle might break down in 1 to 3 years. Christian McCaffrey's going to break down in 1 to 2 years. There's no way McCaffrey's still playing at the same level the third season from today, like this coming year. So this coming year, maybe one more year, and that's crazy if he does. So San Francisco's.
And you know what? I was just gonna say too, like with your point too, is that who else could be breaking down too is on the offensive line is Trent Williams, because I think he's starting to get injured too, and I know if they get regarded as having a good offensive line.
He's older.
Eventually, especially if he gets hurt a lot, then they could definitely be in trouble.
He's older, man. I mean, but it's funny that Niner fans think they're going to be great forever. They're the greatest team they'll ever be for the next 15 years right now. Right now, they have the greatest team that, they're top 3 across the board in really everything except for quarterback play. And so why they won't figure out a way to afford, and they can figure out a way to do it, to get Lamar Jackson's beyond me. Just beyond me. Like Lamar Jackson, you win a Super Bowl probably in 2023. And then, what does that do for you when you win a Super Bowl? It brings in a lot of talent too. They'd be able to maybe replace everything that they lose in time if they win a Super Bowl, and you get to play with Lamar Jackson, who, came back and proved so many people wrong. And, Shanahan's offense is perfect, if he uses Lamar right. But the Niners aren't going to dominate. Could they win a Super Bowl still with Trey Lance or Purdy? It's certainly possible in this 1 to 3 year window because they're so talented. Like, they just need to win one game at a time. The defense is so good. Maybe they can win a Super Bowl with the defense and have Brock Purdy or Trey in there. But if they get Lamar, they're winning it. They're winning it. They're winning a Super Bowl in the next 1 to 3 years. I almost feel like I put a large amount on that. Like, and that's, I don't recommend that for anybody. It's just my thought. But I just feel like without that move, they're very vulnerable. Each year, it's a shame to see all that talent and literally not have a facilitator that can actually use all the talent. It's like having a car with 6 amazing wheels, but you can only put 4 wheels on it. You just can't use it. They just can't use all those weapons at all.
Smitty, let me ask you this. If Purdy didn't get hurt in that championship game, you think that they beat the Eagles?
No, I don't, because I think Purdy was – I mean, I don't know if anybody wants to admit this, but Purdy was getting kind of exposed at the end. I don't think, he's a lot of touchdown drops, a lot of balls should have been picked off. He wasn't exactly looking to form. There was a real worry about him right before he got hurt in that game, and I don't know that he would have. I don't think he would have put it over the edge. I don't think he would have. I think the Eagles would have won the game if the Niners did get past the Eagles. The defense was capable of beating anybody. So, like, could the defense with a little bit of help, I guess, beat the Eagles? Sure, but I don't know. I don't know that it would have made a big difference. I think Purdy was getting a little bit exposed at the end of the year. I think he did phenomenal. I'm not taking anything away from him, but I think we're going to be surprised that he's not. I think a lot of people are expecting him to be like a top 5 or 6 quarterback, and I don't think he is. I think he's a good quarterback in the system. They've won a lot of games with him. I was a big advocate of putting him in over Jimmy G when Jimmy G was still healthy, and everyone's like, oh, you're going to put in a rookie? Why would you do that? They did well. They did well. I said they win more games with Brock Purdy than Jimmy G, and they did. They won an amazing amount of games in a row. This guy was phenomenal, but he was starting to get a little bit figured out, and I just don't know that he was as big of a difference maker as people wanted him to be. And that's why I'm rooting for Trey, because I think Trey is better than Brock Purdy. But yeah, I just don't know if we'll ever see it. I really don't. Yeah. I mean, being honest, I don't know that we'll ever see it. It feels like Shanahan's going to set him up for failure, splitting time with Sam Darnold, anointing the injured Brock Purdy that can't even be on the field, the number one guy. What good does that do? Even if you feel like that's the case, why don't you just, be quiet about it and try and support your quarterback? And why can't you get behind him and say, he's our guy? Why can't you say that right now when there's only Sam Darnold in front of him? Why can't you say Brock Purdy is, or why can't you say Trey Lance is our guy? I don't understand why they can't muster up those words and why they have to continue to make it harder for Trey.
No, I agree. And I also think too is because you're talking about it, I think with Kyle Shanahan, I think when it's all said and done, his tenure in the 49ers, everybody's going to look back at it, and it's like he had an opportunity to have Tom Brady there, and he decided against it, and now he's stuck with this whole situation. I mean, yeah, with that roster that they had, I'm pretty sure at the time, when Tom Brady was a free agent, Tom Brady probably would end up going there instead of Tampa Bay. They probably would end up already having their Super Bowl already. And Kyle Shanahan could have been anointed as this guy or whatever. I don't know if it's an ego thing, and maybe he feels like if Tom Brady got the Super Bowl that he'd get all the credit, and Kyle Shanahan wants to win with all these other guys because he wants the credit or anything like that. I mean, I'm not sure.
It's tough to know. He's got a big ego. Definitely gets in the way. It's either incompetent, personnel decision making, or it's that he's got too big of an ego to win. Yeah. I mean, I know Niner fans are going to get defensive about him to say he's such an amazing coach. Explain this winning record. He's been to the NFC Championship game. But, at the end of the day, making it to a championship game or making a Super Bowl appearance and taking your foot off the gas, and me watching all these Niner fans every single year, and I know a lot of them. I'm in private chat groups with a lot of them. I see the negative. This coach isn't, I see it every day, man. It's like put on a good face in front of everybody, but everybody's so angry at Shanahan, at the time that things blow up, and then they forgive him because he's such an amazing scheme guy. He is. He's a great scheme guy. But he needs a quarterback, and if he keeps putting his faith in his quarterback situations that he doesn't fully support, how are they going to come to fruition? How are you going to bring the best out of Trey when you call him a dual quarterback threat and you treat him differently than Brock Purdy? You're saying he doesn't have that arm. Who cares if he can scramble? Yeah. Stop running him like a fullback and let him throw the ball. Let him sling, like Denny says. Let him get out there and sling the rock. Trey is every bit as good of a passer as Brock Purdy. He doesn't have the experience because Brock Purdy played a bunch of games. Trey hasn't. And Trey hasn't played with CMC. Brock Purdy has. You take CMC off of that roster and you plug Brock Purdy in, Brock Purdy wouldn't even look the same at all. And no one would be even saying his name right now if CMC was not acquired. So let's see what Trey can do with that. We haven't seen Trey in that. Trey would have stayed in the game and they acquired Brock Purdy. It would have been a whole different Trey Lance. It would have been Trey Lance as a magician.
Here's the thing about Kyle Shanahan, right? I've been a 49er fan my whole life, so I follow these guys detail by detail after detail. And Kyle Shanahan is a perfectionist, and the thing that he cares about the most is winning. So if you look at when they traded for Garoppolo, he went on a 5-0 win streak to end that year in 2017. They signed him to a big, fat contract, and then he ends up getting hurt. Then they started losing faith in him. Then there was all these question marks. Are they going to keep him? Are they going to draft a quarterback? So it's the same thing with Trey Lance. He started 2-2, which, to Kyle Shanahan's, pedigree, it's not good enough for him. So then he put Brock Purdy in. He goes basically 8-0, 7-1. So that's why they want this guy, because he's a winner, because they want to win. That's the thing. They're cutting Trey Lance short because he hasn't even – he started, 20 games in his life, including high school and college. It's like, dude, he doesn't have enough sample size.
Yeah. I'd like Jake the Snake, who's in here, right? Jake, you still on the phone or no? Maybe he fell off. Or did he call in? Maybe he didn't call in this show. I might be mixing up my show. I would love Peanut Butter and Waivers and Jake the Snake to argue on the phone line here. Monty versus Swift. I think I'm here for that. If you guys want to dial in. That would be funny.
I'll put it on mute. I'll listen.
Yeah, so let's get Peanut Butter and Waivers to dial in and Jake the Snake to dial in. Let's have a little battle. Little Swifty versus Monty. Ron Navy in the building. Ron, a little late. Thought this was an Allen, not Trey Lance and Niners debate. Was because you missed it. You're late, Ron. We had 20 minutes of nonstop Josh Allen. That was accurate. That's what the whole show was about. Jake the Snake's calling in. Jake the Snake. Jake, hang tight. Let's see if Peanut Butter and Waivers can slip away from the missus. He's probably giving her a foot rub right now with a spoon. And getting her, and she's like, where are you going? And he's scrambling off to get into the pantry and sit on a crate. And he's going to try and whisper sweet nothings in your ear as I'm going to time out. Here I go, running my mouth. Hendon Hooker, sure, whatever. He's going to, let's see if he can sneak away in enough time to battle us out. If not, do we have an alternate? Does anybody want to step in for Peanut Butter and Waivers? But you have to believe in Monty, though. You can't just argue for fun. You got to believe in this debate.
Oh, I will.
Is that Adam?
Yeah.
Okay, let's set this up. Adam, can you drop a chat? What's your name in the YouTube channel?
Very blessed indeed.
What is it?
Very blessed indeed.
Lesson D. Drop a comment real quick in the YouTube channel. I'm going to put both your names up. Jake the Snake versus. Once you drop it, let me know. So Jake the Snake, and we're going to put Swift.
There you go.
Okay, so Swift. Here we go. Got Jake the Snake. Very blessed indeed. There you go. Okay, I got you. Okay, and so you're going to go Monty.
Yep.
There we go. Okay. Very blessed indeed versus Jake the Snake. I'm going to be in control of the timer. Okay? You're each going to get 30 seconds to debate. And then I'm going to go back and forth as much as I feel is necessary. If I feel like there needs to be more counters. We're starting right now. Jake the Snake, you got 30 seconds. Go.
Yeah, so main reason I like Swift is because of his receiving upside. Detroit losing Jameson Williams for the first 6 games of the season gives DeAndre Swift, he's going to be healthy now, and an extra few games this season to increase his receiving total and play more in the spot. I think Monty probably gets more yardage from the ground, obviously, but Swift is underrated at his current ADP.
Hold. Okay. Very blessed indeed. You have 30 seconds. Go, Monty.
Monty can catch the ball just as well as Swift. He I think he will stay healthier. I think he'll get the goal line carries. And I also don't think that the Lions really like Swift that much based on the way they were using him last year.
10 seconds to spare. This guy goes into his auction draft. He got $200. He comes out with $20 extra at the end of it. Okay. Does anybody want to step in that's on the phone line right now and argue one of these sides for one of these individuals here? Anybody want to step in? I kind of feel like that was soft, guys. I kind of felt like that was there wasn't a hardcore argument on either side. I felt like that was like
I would get in. I would get in on this, but I'm out on both these players this season anyway, so I don't really care.
That was a stronger argument than the two that you guys made. Look, I would say this. I would say Swift. If I was going to be negative on Swift, I'd say, yeah, what was just said is true. We're going to limit the guy. You just limited the guy. If you're going to look to limit him this coming season, what in the hell did we just see last year? Because I want to know what limiting means to the Detroit Lions, because they literally had this guy, they had a governor on him that allowed him to play like 10% of the snaps, it felt like. If you're a Swift owner, you wanted to throw up every time the game ended because you felt like, you made it to the game to watch your team lose. You know that feeling? Somebody goes to the game, they get tickets, they spend a boatload of money, they drink a whole lot of beer in the sun, and your team loses. And you have to walk home with that feeling that you want to throw up for 100 different reasons. That's the way it felt like when you started Swift in a game last year. You felt like throwing up after the end of it. And you felt foolish that you got tickets, walked to the game, drank a bunch of beer, and walked home. That's how it felt. Monty is walking into Swift's world. Monty doesn't know the offense like Swift knows it. And if I was to argue against Monty, I'd say this guy hasn't really lived up to his potential overall. He did play with Nagy, and you got to wonder how much talent he wasted, spinning his wheels there. He's got a lot more mileage. We don't really know how he's going to fit and gel into the offense. We don't even know if this team's going to draft Bijan Robinson. They could, and then they could trade Swift away, and then Monty gets hurt, and Swift ends up vaulting up because he goes somewhere else. I don't know. I would say this. As much as I love Detroit, there are some red flags to invest in either one of these guys, even though they just showed they can run for 17 touchdowns with their workhorse. If I was to try and flip into positive mode, I'd springboard right off that and say 17 touchdowns last year. Are you complaining? Maybe you get it wrong, but bet on the horse you like most and ride out that 17 touchdowns. I would say because of the injury history and the negativity toward this man's workload, that Monty's got the clear advantage. I just don't know that I love his ADP yet. That would be my argument on all sides, but yeah. Oh, I'm on the clock here. Gosh dang it, I keep timing out. How many running backs? I guess I could use a tight end. If anybody wants to argue more, go for it.
Yeah, I personally just think Swift's upside is far greater than Monty's, just because in a half PPR, full PPR setting. Look, Swift was injured. He missed 3 weeks last year. He was also injured and they limited him for a fair bit after that as well. But if you look at the way they're using him in the offense, they could potentially switch him out into the slot a lot more this year. Monty is going to get a lot of carries, but Swift is going to get a lot more receptions and total yardage.
Will he, though? I hope so. And I do believe that he was going to have a big-time, I believe he's going to have a big-time season last year when he finally got onto the field, and then they didn't use him even when he was ready. He was readily available. He wasn't injured anymore, and they still didn't use him. So he had kind of a good ending to the season, though. If you look at the numbers, did score touchdowns. He felt like he squeaked into the end zone, though. But I don't know that I feel like they're going to just give him a whole lot more receiving work. I mean, unless you think they're lying, they just said we're going to try and limit him. We just limited him like crazy. And yeah, next year we're going to try and limit him a little more. Like what?
Yeah, and not to mention the contract that they gave Monty, 3 years, $18 million. That's a pretty big contract for running backs nowadays. So, I mean, they obviously trust Monty.
Yeah, the talent is with Swift. No doubt. That's what makes this a really tough argument on either side. The talent is with Swift, but you know who else was talented, bro? A handful of other players that never got their shot. Beanie Wells was talented. Charles Rogers, Detroit Lion receiver. Remember that guy? Does anybody remember Charles Rogers? He was going to be a monster. Kept breaking his collarbone, though. Just kept breaking his collarbone.
You remember Roy Williams? When he got drafted, everybody thought he was going to be like this big thing. Same thing with him.
Yeah, remember Treadwell? Wide receiver?
Yeah. McCon Treadwell,
Yeah.
Reggie Bush for a little bit, too. I mean, I know he had a couple seasons where he started out pretty good, but then I also remember, there was a couple of times he did get injured, and he didn't live up to what that hype was.
Trent Richardson?
When he first started,
remember Trent Richardson?
Yeah.
The thing about Trent Richardson that was weird is that he kept excelling everywhere else he went, like in the XFL or wherever he played. Where did he play?
I think it was right. I think it was the XFL he ended up going to. XFL or AAF, I think it was. I remember they had that football league too. It was the AAF.
Yeah, that was a little weird. He busted out, wherever he went. But
Eddie Lacy, other guy too, man.
Yeah, Eddie Lacy. I remember taking some heat on that one because I said he was going to fall apart, and he had such a he's going to bust out of the NFL, and he had such a strong beginning that it looked like I was going to be wrong on that one. But let me go through these teams real quick. Let me wait till the draft ends so it's a little easier. Yeah, there's a lot of guys that could have excelled. Javid Best for the Lions. A lot of Lions players. Charles Rogers.
Oh my God, yeah, Javid Best was a beast out here at Cal.
Yeah, Javid Best was going to be the next top 5 running back. He just concussions, couldn't stay healthy. Who's that other running back? Jeff Wilson. Remember Jeff Wilson? It was Jeff Wilson, right? The Giants running back. I think it was Jeff Wilson. Is his name?
Oh, I know who you're talking about. I don't think it was Jeff Wilson.
It was something Wilson.
Yeah, I think it was like David or something like that.
David Wilson.
I think he got I can look it up. I also remember. I think it was Brendan. I think it was like Brendan Jennings. I think too. One of them that was good, but I think he had like a neck injury or something that caused him to retire.
Yeah, Monte Ball. Like there's so many players that had upside that just could never put it together. Super chat here from AA. Let me fix this font. I messed with the font earlier, and now I need to fix it again. 1 second. Hold on, AA. I'm sorry, bro. Okay, AA says Smitty, it's my B-day. Can I get the Charbonnet champagne? Thanks, man. Happy birthday to AA. Happy birthday.
Get Charbonnet.
Let's get Charbonnet.
A nice bottle of Charbonnet.
Crack it open for AA. Happy birthday, AA. Appreciate you. We need a birthday animation for anybody that's got a birthday. Appreciate you, AA. Everybody wish AA a happy birthday. Put a little, birthday hat or something in the chat. All right, let's get through these teams real quickly, guys. Hod's got a Mahomes, Dak, Trey Lance, Trask quarterback situation in a super flex. It's pretty good. Pierce, Akers, Rashad Penny. I don't love the running back crew. That quarterback crew came at a cost. Damian Pierce, Rashad Penny. Let me make this a little bit bigger. 1 second. There we go. It's a little bit bigger. I can see a little bit more there. Damian Pierce. Is it not connected? There it is. Justin Ross. Okay, so Fant. Yeah, CeeDee Lamb, Higgins, DK. Pretty good. Pittman, pretty good wide receiver crew. Just a little fearful of those running backs for you. Josh Allen, Pickett, Will Levis, Mariota, Breece Hall, Najee, Brian Robinson. So Josh Allen, Breece Hall, Najee, very, very good so far. A.J. Brown, Drake London. I like it. Pat Freiermuth, Cole Kmet. It's a good squad there, Ada. I like it a lot. Ian's got Hurts, Kyler, Goff, Barkley, Algier, Mixon, Garrett Wilson, JSN, Hollywood Brown, Quentin Johnston, Dallas Goedert, and Dulcich. Pretty good squad there, Ian. I like it. Joe Burrow, Ritter, Mac Jones, Ryan Hollins, J.K. Dobbins, Isaiah Pacheco, Javonte Williams, Deonta Foreman, Leonard Fournette, Diggs, Amon-Ra, Devontae Smith. I like it. Mark Andrews, Gerald Everett. So Diggs, Amon-Ra, Devontae, Andrews, J.K. Pacheco, Joe Burrow. I like it. Your running backs obviously took a little bit of a hit to assemble, all those other pieces, but I like it. Nick, Herbert, Danny Dimes, Geno, Eckler, Monty, Cook, Damian Harris, Singletary, Mike Williams, Chris Godwin, Ayuk, Hawkinson, Waller. Not loving the wide receivers, but you have some definite heavy hitters. This team could do well if you land a couple of your sleeper grabs. Fields, this is my team. Fields, Sam Howell, Huntley, Hendon Hooker. Obviously, I could be hurting pretty bad at my QB2 spot if Howell doesn't land. Maybe Hunter starts though, Tyler Huntley. Maybe Tyler Huntley starts, and they trade away Lamar or Lamar gets signed to an offer sheet. So I like the QB room in that it allowed me to build very well rounded all the way around. Kenneth Walker, Jahmyr Gibbs, Zach Charbonnet, Sean Tucker. Very young running back crew. I could have used another running back. That was me not paying attention and trying to talk with all of you, but that's okay. I don't need to win this anyway. I'm going to try and be competitive, but I'm not winning my own jersey contest. So Chris Olave, Christian Watson, DeAndre Hopkins, Mike Evans, Jamison Williams. That's a pretty darn good wide receiver crew, I have to say. Okonkwo, Likely, and Laporta are my 3 tight ends. Aaron Rodgers, Kirk Cousins, Brock Purdy, JT, Dalvin Cook, James Conner, Madison, JJ Debo, Keenan Allen, George Kittle. This is a really decent squad. So Kittle, Jefferson, Debo, Keenan Allen, JT, Dalvin Cook, James Conner, Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, Ryan, great job, man. Definitely a top 3 contender, I think. T-Law, Bryce Young, Matthew Stafford. Okay. Chubb, Jacobs, Aaron Jones, Dylan. Kupp, Tony, Treylon Burks, Boyd, Evan Ingram. Solid. There's a lot of teams that feel this way, though. I think who was it? It was Ryan. Ryan's got a really good squad there. Lamar, Stroud, Jimmy, Stevenson, Miles Sanders, P. Ryan, Mitchell, Waddle, Calvin Ridley, Bateman, Odell, Travis Kelce. Kelce's a big difference maker for you. Hard to know how that it's going to shake out. It definitely impacted a little bit the overall feel of the team to get Kelce, and that's why I don't really love drafting Kelce, because I feel like you're chasing. I don't know if you felt the same way about your team, but you're chasing wide receiver and running back the whole draft, and it's hard to catch up. Russell Wilson, Anthony Richardson, Mike White, Bijan, Rashad White, Khalil Herbert, Jeff Wilson, Tyreek Hill, DJ Moore, Jerry Jeudy, Deontay, Kyle Pitts. A solid squad, but I've seen you draft better for sure. Tua, Jordan Love, Gardner Minshew, Pollard, ETN, Kamara. That's a really strong running back crew. Chase, McLaurin, Pickens, Addison. Very, very good. And then you got Dalton Schultz. I like your team rock out. You did good. And the final team is That's Fire, a.k.a. Jake the Snake. Deshaun Watson, Derek Carr, Zappy Brady, Christian McCaffrey, Henry Swift, okay, Devontae Adams, Cooper, Tyler Lockett, Flowers, and then Njoku, Knox. I like it. It's a good squad. I think you definitely need a couple things to happen, like Watson to go crazy. You need Derrick Henry to stay healthy. And you need Devontae Adams to get, fed properly, and we don't know if that's going to happen. So a couple guys I strategically stay away from, but at the same time, they're big names and they're capable. So what do you think are the top 3 finalists? I don't know, because they're all very, very close. I'd have to say I think I like my team a lot, and I know you're always going to like your own team. I like my team a lot, but outside of my team, I think Ryan Johnson's team was just the most well put together. To still get Kirk Cousins and Aaron Rodgers, have Brock Purdy in there, Baker's the starter. Like, there's really good quarterback depth considering you don't have one of the big 5 quarterbacks. I really like that quarterback room a lot. And to have the option of JT with Cook or JT with Connor or Madison who could step into the mix, JJ, Debo, Keenan Allen, George Kittle, it's just a really good team. But they're all really close. I don't know. That's the problem when I draft with you guys is everybody's sniping each other left and right. Everybody's teams are very even. What ends up happening is you guys walk out of this draft, in these drafts that we do on a nightly basis, you go into your grandma league and you see things you've never seen before in your life. And you're like, oh my God, I can get Joe Burrow here. Oh my God, Drake London fell to round 6. Oh my God, Deshaun Watson didn't have to go in round 4. I got him at 5.3. And so this is like training with, samurai soldiers. And then you walk into a little Nerf lightsaber fight after going into your draft. This is all hardcore training, and I think you'll find a lot more steals on draft day in your regular draft. But good draft, everyone. All right, guys, let me go around the horn. Adam, final thoughts?
None really. It was a good show, like always.
All right, man, appreciate you.
Yep.
George from the Bay, final thoughts?
Yeah, final thoughts for tonight. This season, I am fading Monty and Swift no matter what.
Fading Monty and Swift no matter what. Peanut Butter and Waivers, I'm trying to accept your call if it doesn't let me dial in again at the end here. Monty and Swift no matter what. I can understand that, bro. All right, George, appreciate you, pal.
All right, man.
Later. Steven, final thoughts?
Hey, I haven't been around while you were doing like some of your videos, and I wanted to get your thoughts on the Josh Jacobs stuff about how he didn't sign it and everything like that. If he doesn't sign the tender and he doesn't play and he doesn't like play or anything like that, you just want to avoid the whole situation just in general.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Josh Jacobs this year, bro. Jimmy G's going to set him up for failure, in my opinion. Stacked boxes, horrible season incoming for everybody there. I think Adams maybe he survives somehow, some way, and I'm wrong about Adams, but I'm going to let someone else take that plunge. No way in hell I want Devontae Adams anywhere in the second round. I would take him at some point, sure. I don't know where my line in the sand is. I don't think I'll need to waste my time. I don't think I want to spend my time and wasting it trying to figure out where I would draft him because I don't think he's going to fall to the point where I would want him. But Adams can't survive on Jimmy Garoppolo targets. He just can't. So for me, I don't know. I think that Jacobs is pissed off because he's stuck in that situation. I think Jacobs knows he's probably prone to a tough year because he says he only wants to be franchise tagged and staying if they're going to load up to win a championship. That a la meaning go get Aaron Rodgers. And, and they didn't do that. And now he feels like he's stuck. And so the only thing his agent's probably telling him is, bro, you just need to try and hold out and get a contract so that you don't get left with nothing. Because if you walk out of this year franchise tagged and don't do much and get hurt or something, hitting 8-man front after 8-man front, you get injured and you don't get to play out your year properly, you're going to get nothing. So at least, even though you don't want to be here, get an extension. Try and get a new contract. Not an extension. He's got a contract. It's a franchise tag that he's not signing yet. But he'll be forced to sign it. I mean, he won't even need to sign it. It'll be forced upon him as his salary. Because no one has to actually technically sign their franchise tag. On July 17, it becomes their contract. And if they want to hold out, they can hold out. But they're going to be holding out with fines and, all that. So,
because I'm pretty sure this was his rookie year, like his rookie contract. So I can see why he wants to. Like if his agent's telling him to sit out or do what he has to do to try to because this would be like his first like chance of getting like real money, because I'm pretty sure he was only playing on the rookie deal.
And as much as I don't like love Jacobs, even though he had a great year, I can at least respect what he did, and I feel bad for him. I don't feel that bad for him because he's getting $10 million. But I feel bad that he is not able to go out and get a fair deal. Like, they just kind of franchise tagged him. They held him in check. And what for what? Well, they're not going to win anything. Why do you need to do that? Let the guy go get his bag. Why do you got to rain on his parade because you want to hold on to him and drag him down with you? Because the Raiders, if they think they're winning, they got another thing coming. Like, this is going to be they can't even win 5 games.
And not only that, but like they just too is like we talked about, like you talked about earlier, and like what everybody saw was how they signed the tight end. They signed the tight end there, Darren Waller. They signed him last year to like a big extension, and then all of a sudden this year they traded him.
Yeah.
So
you're gonna win 5 games, drag Jacobs into that. It's not fair. All right, Steven, appreciate you. See you tomorrow, pal.
See you tomorrow, man. You have a good rest of your night, man.
Later. Ethan, I don't know if you have much time to talk. Let me give you a full minute. Tell me what's on your mind, and then we'll close out your last 10 seconds after that.
Yeah, Smitty, I was gonna play Bob for a second.
Okay.
On the Butch Smitty. The Atlanta Falcons, Kyle Pitts as your moon man. I like, he's got the potential of 1,000 yards, but I mean, people had to be committed last year.
Let me guess. But who's throwing him the football? Smitty?
Which I didn't see Desmond Ridder enough, but Arthur Smith, he wants to keep his job. They need to run the ball to win, and he knows it. And they don't. And the players are trash, and he's actually done an okay job with the trash. And I mean, look at Allen Robinson with the memes. It was crazy. That was a different story. That was a talent issue. Here, it's just a usage issue. I mean, Kyle Pitts has turned into a lineman. So
well,
I don't know.
I think it's a little unfair because he had Mariota in the game. What happened when Ridder came in? London exploded. Like you're and this is okay because
Seattle week 2, the Atlanta Falcons played them, and Mariota threw touchdowns to both Pitts and London in that game.
Yeah, but
they can both work.
Well,
but not with Mariota, but they can both succeed.
Yeah, but let's just be fair though, Ethan. That you're judging Pitts off of being in there with Mariota. London did nothing in there with Mariota, essentially, like long term, like for the full year. Pitts got hurt. Ridder finally came in, and London was on pace for what would be about 1,400 plus yards if you extrapolate from I think it was week 13 on, and then divide that by that number of games, multiply it by 17. He extrapolating that data. London was like 1,400 plus yards for the season. So I know what you're saying, but the other thing I gotta say here is, where did Kyle Pitts go last year?
He went nowhere. He got hurt.
No. What round?
But, I mean,
what round?
Oh yeah, it was with us because I did 2 tight ends. I mean, I took Kelsey. And then someone took him because they knew I was going to take
Let's
Andrews.
use 1 QB,
so
third round. 1 QB, third round. Top of round 3, mid round 3s.
Okay.
Some people got crazy with it, okay? Where's Kyle Pitts going now?
Yeah.
Where's Kyle Pitts going now?
6.
Yeah, like 6. In the 6 to top of 7 territory. So, I mean, you got to ask yourself, bro, is it baked in at this point? If you think he's going to do absolutely nothing, he could bust on you. If you think he could still maybe underperform but have a decent year, he's going to easily earn you that. And the thing is, this guy had the best rookie tight end season in the history of the NFL in fantasy football. So it's like,
but
are you just going to take? Well, no, I don't necessarily believe in Ridder. Do I believe what Ridder did with London can transcend into Pitts' 2023 season and tell us what's going to happen? I think, Ridder throws well enough that if London can project to pull in 1,400 plus yards receiving, that Pitts is going to probably have a 900 to 1,000 yard year with 4 or 5 touchdowns in a worst case scenario. Give him 905 if, let's say, Ritter blows. Because that's not Mariota. Mariota is the reason why Kyle Pitts didn't do well. He was in there the entire time. That guy sucked. It was not even close to the same. He sucked. Ritter's not great yet. He could be. I don't think he's going to be great. I think he could be good maybe. But Ritter and Mariota are night and day. And so I just think that given if Pitts was going in the same territories last year, you'd have a really strong point. But the fact that you're getting him, he's almost double the price or cost half the price than, or 3 times less, I guess you could say. That
just so you know, though, history repeats itself like it did with Allen Robinson and all the Twitter memes about, Pitts. Then you can't even trade him in a grandma league. You can't even trade him. Yeah,
but does history repeat itself? And he's going to have a big season like he did his rookie year. You could play that game. But don't go near Pitts if you don't believe in him. The last thing you in the world you should do is draft somebody you don't believe in. But I'm just here to tell you that Pitts has got all the value baked straight in. I mean, this is about as baked in as it gets, my guy. There's not much.
Talent's there. I mean, I know it's there.
There's not
a jet sweep.
There's not.
Go,
Baked in, boys.
It's about as baked in as can be. All right, man. Ethan, anything else?
Yep. Thanks a lot. No, I just wanted some Pitts talk. Yeah, have a good one. All
right, man. Later. See you tomorrow. All right, let's see. Jake the Snake, final thoughts.
Yeah, 2 points. One is, in our draft tonight, Davante Adams fell to 36. I'm with you. I don't like him at his current ADP, like early second round or mid-second round. But at 36, I feel like I'm willing to take a chance on Davante Adams, back-to-back 1,500-yard seasons. And then DeAndre Swift, he's a 24-year-old guy. He is injury-prone. But I'm just willing to bet on his upside. I have not given up on Swift yet. I think, hearing what you said, I think you might have just been a year early on Swift, and I'm just not ready to give up on his career.
On Adams, real quick, though, you say 1,500-yard receiver. He's a 1,500-yard receiver. I'm not giving it, back-to-back.
Yeah, with Carr.
Right, but, with Jimmy G, do you really believe? How do you think that's going to play out? I'm just curious. I'm not saying he can't get 1,100 yards and 8 touchdowns still somehow, some way. Or what if Jimmy gets injured or pulled? I think Jimmy doesn't finish the year, whether he's injured or yanked from the lineup. Maybe it doesn't come via Jimmy, but maybe that's your argument. But I just don't know how you think Jimmy Garoppolo is going to feed us a field stretcher. They'd have to get the playbook for the wide back role that Debo just played and implement it for this guy to get even remotely. He's going to get hospital balls. I almost guarantee you Adams is going to get hurt because he's going to get thrown what we called hospital balls all the time that Jimmy used to throw, and a big reason why Kittle would get injured or these passes are just errant passes. I just feel like Adams, how is he gonna deliver? How? We struggled to wrap our head around him leaving Green Bay, and we thought for a second, could Carr do this? And Carr did. Carr was able to feed him. It was 1,400 yards, 100 receptions, 14 touchdowns. Really good season for Adams. I just think Jimmy Garoppolo, can he get you late second round value in a 1 QB league? I don't know, bro. I mean, give me London. Give me Watson over Adams. I'm not saying I draft Watson in round 2. No. I'm saying I'll go Kenneth Walker in round 2 and wait for Watson in round 4 or 5 and be happy as can be that my wide receiver is Watson and not Adams. Give me Kenneth Walker round 2. I'm not touching Adams in round 2. Walker all day long.
Tonight I got to the point, though, at the end of the third where it was pick 36, last pick in the third, where I found my line in the sand where I was like, I need to take Davante Adams here. I agree with you where you're standing on his current ADP. I think I'm not willing to bet that Davante Adams doesn't adapt to Jimmy G.
I adapt to it. What's he? I don't know. Just give me Walker all day long. Give me London, Watson, round 4 or 5, and I don't even need a wide receiver until 4 or 5. I could live with Watson and London, Christian Watson and Drake London as my wide receiver 1 and 2 versus putting my faith in Adams in the second round. I just can't do it. But I appreciate your take and trust yourself. Garrett with his usual misguided, amazingly well-received and appreciated super chat. Garrett says, can't guard Mike, a.k.a. for those that don't remember who that is, can't guard Mike. I know this guy's been out of the league for a while. He still plays football in the NFL. You may remember him. His name is Mike Thomas. And Garrett is saying Mike Thomas is going to outscore Chris Olave, and he's willing to buy a $99 lifetime membership to thefantasyfootballshow.com if he's wrong. If not, I'm going to comp it for him. This guy literally comes in here and super chats about this. He's an amazing man. Just the backbone on this guy. He's misguided, but the backbone's strong. And he comes in with the what he thinks is the heat. But I mean, I don't think we found one person in the entire chat that agrees Mike Thomas will outscore Chris Olave. In fact, can we please scour the chat right now? Can we get a thumb up or a hand raise for anybody that believes that Mike Thomas will outscore Chris Olave? I just wonder if another individual in the world exists that agrees with Garrett. I just feel bad. He's all by himself. I'd love to hook you two up, whoever it is out there, so you guys can, exchange numbers, chat back and forth and have similar conversations, because this guy Garrett's all by himself, sitting by himself with this can't guard Mike talk. He has no one to talk to about it. He has no one to vent to about it. And when it all unravels, who is he going to lean on? I need one of you to step up and become this guy's soldier boy. Okay? All right. Jake the Snake, appreciate you. Whoever else was on the phone, Peanut Butter and Waivers jumped off. I was going to have Peanut Butter and Waivers finish off, but Jake the Snake, appreciate you. Yeah, very blessed. Nobody so far. Nobody. I can't get one person to step in and help out. And I don't want you to fake it. I want you to be real. I think Mike Thomas outscores Chris Olave. Is anyone here willing to raise their hand and admit they feel that way so we can get you two guys? Ouch. The nightly ice cold Mike Thomas take. Appreciate you, Travis. Thomas is sneaky, cleaning out. That wager should be that Mike plays 8 games. He's the one that wanted to make this wager, not me. Thumbs down. I don't see it, Garrett. Garrett, you can call in again if you want, or call in again. I don't think you've called in today. You can call in real quickly before I leave. But Garrett, appreciate you. Garrett is an absolute menace, and we love him. I think a lot of people are struggling to remember who Mike Thomas is before they can hunker down and make a bold statement on Michael Thomas outscoring Olave, let alone playing even half a season. Will the real Mike Thomas believer please stand up, says Ada. I mean, we can't find anybody. Nobody. It will happen in a different dimension. Maybe not, Matt. It might not even happen in a parallel universe. I don't think anybody's going to step up, Garrett. We have nobody. Shaheed over MT. I mean, most people feel that way. It's not even crazy to say that. Got throw up emojis. LOL, Garrett's bold. I'll give him that. Garrett, you are a bold man. I love Garrett's boldness. I do. Is Mike Thomas who? Where's Garrett? Garrett kind of went silent. Is Garrett even responding? Poor Garrett. Garrett, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have went at Garrett so hard. Garrett's got thick skin, though. I don't think Garrett's taking offense to it. Guy's tough as nails. Garrett, call in. Garrett, I want to give you a standing ovation for being bold. Hopefully I didn't ring Garrett off. Mike Thomas, best days are behind him. Brian says when MT plays, he's good. Brian's a nice guy. Brian's just an overall nice guy. He'll defend really anybody. So I wouldn't take that. That's not him raising his hand. But you know what? Brian might be the best buddy you could have, Garrett, because he'll be there for you. Boxing may be fake, to be honest, says Garrett. Garrett says, can't call in tonight, Smitty, but we'll call Monday and get in the topic of the day. I bet on Ryan. I bet on Ryan tonight, and have been drinking my sorrows away. I appreciate you, Garrett. Look, Garrett even drops a super chat to let me know he's not offended. Look at this man. He's got the skin of a raptor, or a Tyrannosaurus Rex. This guy's skin is just dinosaur thick. No offense ever, Smitty. Love the shows always. Appreciate you, Garrett. Okay, guys, I'm out of here. Michael the Glassman, says Ada. Michael the Glassman versus Garrett the dinosaur skin monster. I'm out of here. On that note, I leave you with a message from a man known as Bijan Robinson.
Hi, my name is Bijan Robinson. I like long walks on the beach. And, well, I also like scoring touchdowns.
Later, the Ryan. Later, Travis. Appreciate you. Very blessed indeed. Ada. Diddy. I think. Miles. Rock out dropping the super chat at the very end. MT gets hurt too much. Too weak in the knees. Appreciate you, Rock out. Klondike, we'll see you later, buddy boy. Matt O. Appreciate you. Hod Prime. Appreciate you. Dante, the man, the myth, the legend. Appreciate you, Dante. Bella, check yourself in the building. Bella, check yourself out the door. Hit that thumb up on that out the door there, Bella. Appreciate you, man. You have a good night as well, Bella. Check yourself. Later, Ada. Peace out, everybody. People are getting burrowed left and right, and people are going to remember it.
Get burrowed.